It is no secret to longtime fans of the channel that trading card games have been a big influence in my life, both on and off the channel. In this series, both DemonBattler and myself will be opening 24 packs, or one box, of each core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set in chronological order. After each opening, we will build decks from all of the cards we have opened thus far, then duel each other in a best-of-3 match with 3 prizes up for grabs to improve our decks. The winner will receive 2 of those prizes, and the loser will get 1. The possibilities for prizes are almost limitless, including single cards, sealed product, structure decks, and much more. Every card in the entire game's history will be obtainable in some form. However, neither of us will be able to rest on past laurels easily. The ever-changing official Forbidden and Limited list, our own choices of cards to be banished to the Shadow Realm, and even changes to the very rules of the game will keep our decks and duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Galactic Overlord was released May 8th, 2012. This set introduced the Hieratic archetype, a light dragon archetype focused on tributes, rank 5 and 6 Xyz monsters, and eventually, once we get more support from Judgment of the Light, level 7 and 8 Synchro monsters. This is facilitated by being able to tribute monsters from the hand to activate effects. This set also introduces the Light Ray archetype, a series of light retrains of other monsters that reward you for playing many light monsters with different names. This set also includes support for the Evol, Insector, and Onomatopoeia archetypes. So this set does not have a lot of good cards at common, but it does have a few for Insector, mostly Hieratic, and a couple of Evol cards I'd like to go over. The first of those cards is going to be Evoltile, I'm going to butcher this name, Evoltile Lagashuko. This will let you Foolish Burial for an Evolsar when it's a normal summon, and then when it's flipped face up, you can special summon an Evoltile from your deck, which could lead to Xyz plays. And then next is Evolsar Darwino, which could lead to Xyz plays as well. When it gets special summoned by the effect of an Evoltile monster, you can target any face-up monster on the field and increase its level by up to 2, which could lead to rank 5, 6, or 7 plays. And then Ladybug would be good for us because this card is pretty bonkers as far as making Xyz, just all kinds of extra deck plays with this card. And it's just another name for the archetype, but unfortunately we won't be able to do anything with this because neither one of us have Hornet, and you have to have Hornet to play the deck. Then we have Hieratic Seal of Supremacy, which lets you special summon a Hieratic from your hand. This is a great way to get a starter on the table and be able to make one of your boss monsters. Just because Hieratics are very good at making high-rank Xyz monsters, but it's very important for us to be able to get the Xyz monsters to be able to play the archetype. And then the last common I'd like to go over is Hieratic Seal of the Dragon King. This is very important because a lot of the Hieratic archetype is focused around being able to special summon dragon normal monsters from your deck for effects. And Hieratic Seal of the Dragon King is treated as a normal monster while in the graveyard. These monsters can also be special summoned out of the graveyard. It's hand, deck, or graveyard for their effects, but it does make their attack 0, and it requires normal monsters specifically, so Hieratic Seal of the Dragon King could wind up seeing play in the Hieratic decks. And that's every common that's good in the set, but the real fireworks start at rare. There are a ton of really good rares in the set. And we're going to start with Gaga Gardna, which you can special summon it out of your hand when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, so you can get a free summon out of this and potentially be able to go into Xyz plays once we get more cards for a rank 4 toolbox. Then we have a couple of really important Hieratics at rare. We have Hieratic Dragon of Tefnuit, which is Cyber Dragon for the archetype, and you can very easily go into Xyz monsters with this because you can special summon this out of your hand, tribute it for something, and then special summon a dragon normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Its stats do become 0, but it does not matter because you're just going to be using this for a synchro play or an Xyz play. And we have Blue Eyes White Dragons too, so if we end up getting the pieces for Hieratic, we could put a small Blue Eyes package in the deck as well. And then Asar is pretty crazy as well. Now you can special summon it by banishing a light dragon type monster and a dragon type normal monster from your graveyard. It's a 2600, which is pretty sizable. And then if it gets destroyed, you contribute a face-up Hieratic instead of this card. And just 2600 is big. And then we get to the Light Rays. There are 3 Light Ray monsters at rare, and I'd like to go over all of them as they are quite good if you build your deck around them. So Light Ray Sorcerer requires you to have 3 or more light monsters that are banished, and then you can target a banished light monster and a face-up monster on the field to shuffle the first one back into your deck and banish the second target. It cannot attack during the turn you activate it. So this is pretty interesting. It's like a Chaos Sorcerer that wants you to play a full light deck. And I think if you're playing any sort of light archetype, this should be something that you can consider. Note that the special summon of this is not once per turn. So if you have 3 or more banished light monsters, you can special summon multiples of these. So I think this card is playable if we have the right shell for it. All of the Light Ray monsters are build-arounds in this way. A Light Ray Gerfried is a 2800 that really wants you to play light warrior monsters, which we have a handful of, so we may be able to build around this if we get multiple copies of it. This requires you to have 5 or more light monsters with different names in your graveyard to summon, and then as a quick effect, you can banish a warrior type monster from your graveyard to negate a spell trap. However, you are locked into light warrior monsters when you build your deck around this. And then Light Ray Diabolos is a 2800 that requires you to also have 5 or more light monsters with different names in your graveyard. And it's almost like Dark Arm Dragon for light monsters. You can banish a light monster from your graveyard, then you can target a set card your opponent controls and put that card either on top or bottom, and you do get to see it before you decide where it goes, which is really neat. So I think all 3 of these are build-arounds. They're good boss monsters, and if you build your deck around them, it can be quite potent, and they're only at rare, so it's pretty likely that we'll get these. The most important card at rare by far in the set is Photon Papilloperative. This is the reason why I did not point bans at rank 4s, or try to get Demon off of rank 4s in the prizes specifically, because Photon Papilloperative is a very good generic rank 4, that is going to wind up in any extra deck that is capable of making rank 4s. And this card is quite strong. So once per turn, and it's on a 2100 that's completely generic, you can detach an Xyz material to turn a defense position monster on the field into face-up attack position and sink it by 600. So this can get over a lot of very powerful defensive threats. Hieratic Seal of Convocation is very, very important for this Hieratic archetype. It is the Rhoda for the Hieratic archetype, and you're going to want 2 to 3 of these in your deck. And then we have some more Evol support, which I am very interested in. Evo Diversity is a Rhoda for the archetype. It is a hard once per turn, but this will let you search out just about any card in the archetype. And then Evo Price is kind of like Black Whirlwind in a way for the archetype. If you special summon a monster by the effect of an Evil tile, then you can target any card on the field, destroy that target, but it doesn't happen during damage step. That's okay. That's okay. I think this is going to see play in the archetype, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on these cards and playing them, because I have a pretty strong dinosaur package. And then the last card I'd like to talk about is Light Ray Grepher. So Light Ray Grepher is basically Dark Grepher, but for lights. Once per turn, you can discard a light monster to banish a light monster from your deck. So this can let you fuel other cards in the archetype as well. Now we get to the super rares, and there is quite a bit of power at the super rare slot specifically that I'd like to go over. The first one I'd like to go over is a Hieratic Dragon of Gebeb, which is a main deck monster that is quite strong. It's an 1800 that when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon a dragon normal monster from your deck, make it stat 0, which is good for Xyz plays. And then when it's tributed, you can do the same thing, except it does not reset the stats. Now, a lot of the Hieratic normal monsters do have 0 stats, but the main reason you're summoning them is to go into very powerful Xyz monsters. And speaking of Xyz monsters, we have 3 really strong Xyz monsters here. We have, first of all, Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger. which is going to make our mind controls and anything that lets us gain control of monsters removal for rank 5 and rank 6 Xyz monsters. This is a 2600 piercer, that's all it does on field. However, you can rank this up over a rank 5 or rank 6 Xyz monster you control, which means you can, if you have just some way to gain control of it, such as a mind control, you can grab their monster and then rank up on top of it, and you've removed their big threat. This could wind up being a very good way to remove number monsters specifically, just because in our format, number monsters are very, very hard to remove. A Hieratic Dragon King of the Tomb is the first Xyz monster for the archetype. This requires level 6 dragons, and this lets you special summon dragons from your deck, which lets you further extend into more Xyz plays, can let you go into rank 8s, especially if we can get the big boss monster for the Hieratic archetype. But the Tomb is nuts. And then the final super rare Xyz monster I'd like to go over is Queen Dragoon Jin. So this is generic. You can throw this in any deck. However, it is at its best in dragon decks. This prevents all of your dragon-type monsters, excluding itself, from being destroyed by battle. And then once per turn, you can special summon a level 5 or higher dragon-type monster in exchange for an Xyz material. It comes out of your graveyard. Its effects get negated and it can't attack, but you can bring out something like a Blue Eyes to just have a 3k beater for the following turn, or you can just use it to go into Xyz monsters. Then there's 3 other super rares I'd like to talk about. Told you there's a ton of good super rares in the set. A Hieratic Seal of Reflection will let you trigger your Hieratic monsters that have their effects activate when they're tributed. And then this is a pretty close to Omni Negate. It doesn't let you negate summons, but other than that, it is an Omni Negate. And Omni Negates are pretty good. Then we have Evoltile El Gennaro, which when it's tributed, you get to draw a card, and then you can trade a dinosaur-type monster from your hand to the deck for an Evoltile from your deck to your hand. So this could wind up being very good for card filtering specifically. And then the last super rare I'd like to go over is Shining Elf. This is the first generic rank 2 that we have had access to. It's only 1600, but you can sync monsters outside of damage step. I'm not quite sure why this can't be activated during damage step, because this does change attack values. So it should be, you would think it would be something that could be able to be activated during damage step, but for some reason it can't. This is just noteworthy because this is the first rank 2 that we've had access to outside the starter deck. Now at the ultra rare slot, there's not a ton, but there are a couple of cards I'd like to go over. This first one being Hieratic Dragon of Sutek, which requires 3 dragon-type normal monsters to be banished from your graveyard, and it's basically Dark Arm Dragon. The only caveat is you have to actually banish the normal monsters from your graveyard to be able to summon it, but if you have more than 3, then you can really go nuts on your opponent's board. And 2800 is sizable. It has mostly the same stats as Dark Arm Dragon, but that's the role it serves. It's Dark Arm Dragon for the archetype. And then we have a couple of pretty powerful Xyz. We have number 32 Shark Drake, which while it requires 3 materials, this card is quite strong. It's a 2800 that when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can detach a material to special summon the destroyed monster in face-up attack position. It sinks the monster by 1000 attack, and then it can make a second attack during the battle phase. The only downside is it requires 3 materials, but this can be quite the finisher, adding a ton of damage to your board. And then the next card I'd like to go over is number 25 Force Focus, which is the first generic rank 6 that we've had. Its effect isn't great, but it's a 2800, and it's just noteworthy for being a generic rank 6. Then the next card I'd like to go over at this rarity slot, and the last one is Night Beam. So Night Beam is the best generic ultra rare in the set. It's kind of a spell speed 4 Mystical Space Typhoon. It only works on set cards. However, your opponent cannot activate the targeted card in response to the card's activation. So this is very, very good at sniping out chainables, and even though we have multiple copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, I think this card is going to wind up in side decks against back-row decks. And then at the secret rare slot, there are quite a few very strong cards I'd like to go over. One of them is Card D. During your main phase 1, if you have normal summon Card D, you can attribute it to draw 2 cards, then it becomes the end phase of your turn. It does lock you out of special summoning as well, but this is a very good going first card. where you can set a bunch of back row, normal summon it, tribute it to draw 2, and then you just rely on your back row to survive the turn. And then I'd like to go over some Xyz monsters at the secret rare slot that are very, very powerful if you can make them. The first one is Photon Strike Bouncer, which is still the best generic rank 6 in the game to date. It is a 2700 that requires 2 level 6s, and then at quick effect speed, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can detach an Xyz material to negate the attack and negate the effect and burn your opponent for 1k damage. This is still, like I said, the best generic rank 6 in the game, and will see play in any deck capable of spamming level 6 monsters. I would even play this in Monarch. And then the big boss of the Hieratic archetype, Hieratic Sundragon Overlord of Heliopolis. This is a generic rank 8 that once per turn you can detach an Xyz material to tribute any number of monsters from your hand or field, then destroy an equal number of cards on the field, and it's 3k. So if we get this, we are very inclined to play Blue Eyes White Dragons in our Hieratic deck. Then the last card I'd like to talk about is number 11, Big Eye. This card was banned for quite some time. This card is very, very powerful, and if we get this, Dragon Rulers, which are rapidly approaching, are going to be hell. So this is a 2600 rank 7 that requires 2 materials, and once per turn, you can detach a material to Change of Heart one of your opponent's monsters. There's no restrictions on what you can do with it, other than Big Eye can't attack during the turn that you use the effect, but that is the reason why this card was banned for a very long time. But that wasn't the only set that was released. There is a huge, huge reprint set, and this isn't even a true reprint set. This is actually going to take up a new slot on the wheel, or replace the reprint slot on the wheel, depending on where the reprint sets fall in the future. But for now, this is going to fall under the same category as Gold Series. This is the Raw Yellow Mega Pack. This was released on February 17th, 2012, and this is a big reprint set. Each helping of Raw Yellow Mega Pack is going to give us 5 packs of this set, and rarity is kind of a strange concept in this set. Each pack will contain 7 commons, 1 rare, 1 super rare, 1 ultra rare, and 1 secret rare. So we're going to be getting 1 card of each rarity from this set, as well as 7 common cards. But take a look at some of these commons. We have Card Trooper, Stratos, Prisma, just so much good stuff. Plasma, common Sapphire Pegasus, common Rainbow Dragon. We get a lot of the high rarity Crystal Beast stuff. I don't think it's going to be as impactful, but we could have a full Crystal Beast core, and it could take one of our opponents by surprise by running that back, just because of how strong of a control deck that it is. It's a little dated, and I don't think it's good if our opponent is ready for it, but it could be a nice surprise. Cyber Dragon, this is another opportunity to get that. Power Bond is pretty cool for machine decks. Common Ryo reprint is huge. This is one of the cards I'm going to be gunning for, because just Ryo is so strong. And the other things that I'm going to be gunning for are going to be Grandmaster, Great Shogun, and Inishi. We have a very powerful 6 Sam core. We're just missing some key cards for it, such as the boss monsters. And these are going to be very powerful. We are also missing Gateway, which gets reprinted at common. Remember, we get 5 packs of this set, 10 packs if we win. And these are at common, so we should be able to snipe some of them. And Gateway obviously is limited, so we only need 1 of it. We do need it to play 6 Sam, but oh my god, this pack is stacked. And then at the rare slot, we have... this is actually the first reprint for Disc Commander, but Disc Commander is banned. None of these cards are great at rare, because all the good ones are banned, or we have them already. At the super rare slot, we have just a bunch of rarity upgrades, but we have Dark End Dragon. This is the first real reprint of Dark End Dragon, which is a very, very powerful Synchro 8. It's not generic, but it requires dark non-tuners, and this can bypass a lot of protection. And then the ultra rare and secret rare slots are mostly rarity bumps for existing cards, but it does have some pretty cool reprints. Unfortunately, Dimensional Prison is banned, but there is Lumina and Wolf, which, by the way, I have these cards in person, and they look really nice in ultra rare, but there's not a lot. So we're going to be going after these packs mostly for the commons and rares. There are a couple of interesting cards at secret rare, such as Destiny Hero Malicious and Destiny Draw, but most of the cards that we're going to be going for are at the common and rare rarities. And with the release of Galactic Overlord came a small update to the Forbidden and Limited list, but this had pretty massive changes for the TCG, and it's going to have big changes for the Progression series as well. This is where all of the plant synchro stuff got hit. So the Tengu plant lists really disappeared after this Forbidden and Limited list, with Glow Up Bulb and Spore getting banned, so Demon is going to lose both of his Glow Up Bulbs for the rest of time, just because Glow Up Bulb is never going to come off the list. We have Trishula getting hit, Dust Shoot finally gone, TG Striker getting limited, the Agent of Mystery Earth getting limited because the Agent structure deck made things really powerful, and then we have a bunch of really spicy reductions in restrictions for cards. Lumina to 2, Marshmallow to 2, Reborn Tengu goes to 2 as part of the plant synchro hits, but we only had 2 to begin with. E-Telly to 2, L-Lab to 2, Xian Smoke Signal to 2, which is big for Sams if we can get a lot of the Raw Yellow Mega Pack. Torrential Tribute to 2. This is the biggest change on this list because this is the first time that Torrential Tribute has been at anything but limited for just a couple of sets, and it's going to go to 3 eventually. DemonBattler knows that I have a Torrential Tribute. He does not know that I have 2 Torrential Tributes. So springing the second Torrential Tribute on him at the right time could wind up being a huge blowout depending on what deck we wind up playing. Ultimate Offering goes to 2, it's going to go to 1 and then 0 pretty shortly, and then Call of the Haunted goes to 3 copies. And we have 3 copies of Call of the Haunted because of all the common reprints. Alright, so we have 24 packs of Galactic Overlord. There's not a ton of stuff I'm excited about in this set because most of the support in this deck is for the set is for the Hieratic archetype. But we'll get through it all the same. There's some generic cards as well at high rarity that I am interested in. So we'll see what we wind up with, but before we get started, we do have 3 packs of Turbo Pack 7. This Turbo Pack, like I said, isn't great, but there are a couple of cards that would be nice to see, so let's go ahead and flip them up. Our first pack gives us another copy of Tail Swipe, which if we wind up playing a dinosaur archetype, could wind up making the deck, but the rest of these are not great. Second pack, see what we wind up with. Nothing good, and third pack, another Tail Swipe. So the 2 copies of Tail Swipe were about it, but let's go ahead and get into our 24 packs of Galactic Overlord, which is the main attraction for the day. We have 24 packs. Like I said, there's not a ton of stuff that I'm super excited about, but let's go ahead and start with the first pack. We got some Hieratics, we got a Gaga Gardna, and we are getting some of the Evoltile cards, but the Evoltile cards and the Evil cards in general are at low rarity, so it should be expected that we get them. And there's a super rare Flelf, but more importantly, we got a Photon Papilloperative. That is the most important rare in the set. It is a generic rank 4. I don't think Flelf is super good, but we'll take a look at it. It lets you modulate levels for Xyz plays, but it's just not a great card. Not unless you have special summons. And there's a Light Ray Diabolos. That could be a build around, but that's one of those cards that you have to build your entire deck around. If you can make it work, though, it's quite powerful. And there's Tefnui. We really need to see a boss monster to be able to make Hieratic work. You just absolutely have to have the rank 5s and rank 6s to make Hieratic work. And there's a Light Ray Sorcerer. This is probably the easiest one to build around, but this card is quite good if we have a good light core. We do have a couple of light archetypes that we can potentially stick this in, but I would need to spend a lot of time with deck building and just labbing to make sure that the deck is consistent enough, but it is definitely a consideration. And there is a super rare. Unfortunately, it is not a good one. It is Spiritual Light Art Hijiri. This lets you tribute a light monster to target a banished monster. If your opponent has a trap card in hand, they can negate this, otherwise you get to special summon the monster. This is playable in Hieratic exactly, and only really as a one-of, just because there are enough trap cards running around in our format that it's going to be pretty likely that our opponent will be able to negate it. And I believe that's our playset of Gardna. And there's a Hieratic Dragon of Asar. We're getting a lot of the good Hieratics, but you have to have the Xyz. It's that simple. The only real good card that we've gotten so far out of the set is Pappy, and that's really starting to concern me because we're halfway through this box and we've only seen 1 holo. And there is a super rare. Unfortunately, it is not one of the super rares we are looking for. It is Tasuke Knight. This card is just not good. So what this does is it's a 1700 that when an opponent's monster declares an attack while you have no hand and it's in your graveyard, you can special summon it, then end the battle phase. So this is something that can be kind of cool to dump off of Painful Choice, but you have to be handless to use it, which is just not great. You're just getting all the wrong rares. And there's a Light Ray Diabolos. That's another monster that we can build around. And that's our second Light Ray Diabolos, so depending on some of the pulls that we have from previous sets, we might build around that. No, I don't need a fourth copy of Ga Gardna. We've also not seen anything above a super rare yet, which is concerning, because a lot of the high rarity cards are just bangers. And there is the cover card of the set. That is Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. I believe, did we pick up a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon out of the tins? I can't remember. But the Light Ray Griffer is not bad either. A Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is definitely one of the weaker rank 8s that we could have pulled. But it is a rank 8. It requires 3 materials, so it's really difficult to make. But it is 4,500, which is massive. And then if you use Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as a material, it negates all other effects of cards on the field. And it's just a big finisher, but 3 level 8s is just so hard. And there's a Hieratic Seal of Convocation. This is a card that you want to have multiples of to play Hieratic. It's the Rhoda for the archetype. But considering that we're 20 packs in, Hieratic is probably off the table. Third Diabolos. Don't think we want 3 of that card. Alright, so only 3 packs left. Been really disappointed with this set. It doesn't have a lot of strong archetypes in it, but there are a lot of powerful cards in this set at high rarity, and I'm very disappointed we haven't even hit one. So let's go ahead and flip them up. Another Light Ray Diabolos. That's our 4th one. We've missed so many rares that I'm looking for, too. So just, unfortunately, nothing doing for this set so far. It's just too bad. So we'll go ahead and crack our second to last pack. We got another Pappy. The second one is not nearly as important as the first one, but I will take another Pappy for the extra deck. And then for our very last pack, see if we can get any sort of miracle in the close. Haven't seen a secret rare yet. There's a lot of good ones. That is not a good card. That is a Hieratic Seal of Banishment. So this set was a real disaster for us. If we had redoer tickets in this series, I would absolutely use one. But unfortunately, we do not get any rerolls at all. So just super disappointed with this set. We did get Pappy, which is important. We didn't get any of the Evol support at rare. So that's going to make Evol a lot more difficult to play. I think it's still playable given the Xyz that we have. But just not having Evo Price is going to be really difficult. But either way, I'll see you in deck building. Alright, so here's the list. We're actually going to try Karakuri post-duplication. I'm unsure if this is the best deck that we have, but this is the deck that we've had the most consistent results with. I have had to significantly retool the deck to work without machine duplication. So the way the Karakuri deck works now is instead of being a combo deck, this is actually going to be a kind of control deck, where we're going to try to outvalue our opponent as much as possible, and then make a big board to be able to kill our opponent with. So instead of making multiple Synchro Monsters like we did before, we're only going to really be able to make one Synchro Monster at a time, but we still have lots of ways to get tons of board presence. So I'm going to go over the monsters with you. The monsters have not changed at all. It's triple Sidra, one Shinkro, triple Nanishi, triple Inishichi, double Nanashik, triple Kuik, one Nisamu, and triple Nishipachi, one Krebons, and one Psychic Commander. The spell traps are where things have changed a bunch. So I still have the one E-Telly, the one Giant Trunade, the triple Anatomy, the triple Cash. I did cut Gold Dust because I just don't think it's good enough. It was good because it was a surprise before, but now Demon is going to perhaps play around it, and I just don't think it's worth the slot. Limiter removal is still insane, though, because it enables crazy OTKs. We have double NST, double Overlord Fusion, Pot of Greed, Premature Burial, but I have put a ton more traps in this deck. The reason why I didn't have the trap cards in here before is because with machine duplication, we were intending to blank all of our opponent's back row and then go for the OTK, so the trap cards weren't quite as important. This time I have Call of the Haunted in here. It's a little bit counterintuitive because it doesn't play out of the graveyard that much, but this is a great way to get back our boss monster when it gets answered. A double compulse for Xyz, a Dark Bribe, Judgment, and Warning for negates. Main deck Starlight Road. So one issue that I've been having with a lot of my decks is that they make big boards, but they're very susceptible to Black Rose Dragons specifically. So I've actually moved the Starlight Road to the main deck. We do have a Stardust Dragon that we can special summon off of this with our extra deck. And in a pinch, this actually has an interaction with Torrential Tribute, because we can actually negate our own Torrential Tribute if we need to be able to get a Stardust Dragon on the table to further extend. And double Torrential Tribute, this is something that Demon does not know we have. He knows that we have the one, but he will not expect the second one. And I'm excited to be able to spring this on him. So we're going to give this a try. If this doesn't perform like I would like it to, I'm going to switch to some other decks such as Evol or Blackwing, or even something as old as Monarch could wind up being good. I hope you're ready to high-five the sky because it is time to duel. Well, welcome to YCS Chicago, buddy.
Yep. Time to see if I can... The problem is I am out of the top tables for sure, but you're currently on the bubble. So the question is, do I knock you out?
That is the question, because the card that is on the line is Blood Mephist, which was a card that was never released to the public, and it could take up a spot in our extra deck.
It could, and it's actually a fairly... I mean, it's not like a game-breaking card necessarily, but it's definitely a fairly solid one.
And just to emphasize how difficult it is for us to get a hold of this card, the only other way to get this card in our series is with a Starlight Craft.
Yep.
That is the only other way. So this is a very important duel. Let's go ahead and get things started. That's a good start. I needed that. I really needed that. That's absolutely fantastic. I am going to be on the play. Good luck, duelist.
Good luck. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
All right, let's go ahead and draw for the turn. Proceed to the standby phase. Proceed to the main phase. Let's go ahead and normal summon Inashichi effect.
Why am I not surprised that you're still on this shit?
I gotta try it without dupe.
Fair enough. All right.
Effect's good. We're gonna grab. What do I want? Is the question. Let's go ahead and just grab Anatomy, because this can get cards. Yep, I'm gonna grab Karakuri Anatomy.
Okay.
I don't think there's any reason not to grab Karakuri Anatomy. So let's go ahead and just fire Anatomy. Then I'm gonna set 2 and pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby main. This is going to be an interesting one.
I'm very curious to see what you're on, because there was a big FNL list that updated a lot of stuff.
Let's see. I'm curious what your face sounds are. You know what? No guts, no glory, I guess. I'm going to activate Instant Fusion.
Interesting. Instant Fusion's fine.
Which I will bring out a copy of Cybersaurus.
Here we go. We're on the mirror again.
Yes, we are. I will summon out Nanishi.
I don't like this, but I think I'm gonna TT here.
Ooh.
I think I have to TT, because otherwise you just start comboing.
Alright, I will set 3 cards, and I will throw it to you.
3 back row's fine. Draw for turn. Standby phase good?
Standby's good.
Main. I'm going to run out another Inashichi. Inashichi effect.
Okay.
Inashichi is going to get me another copy of Anatomy.
Okay.
Activate Karakuri Anatomy.
Alright.
Let's go to battle.
5 in.
Not like I have a choice.
True.
I will pass the turn.
Alright, I'll draw. Standby main. And I am going to just set a monster and pass it to you.
Alright, I will draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm going to normal Nishipachi effect.
Okay.
I'm going to target itself.
Okay, switch it to defense.
So that will trigger both of my anatomies. I'm gonna do them.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. You have an effect.
Let's see.
Is this specifically chaining to the anatomies, or is this on resolution of them?
This is on resolution of them.
Okay.
Let's see. Because I know exactly what you're about to pull off beforehand. I think I'm going to ring your Inashichi.
Fair.
So that way you can't turn around and draw 4. You can't get double pot of greed off.
Yeah, that's a little silly. I'll pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby main. Let's see.
I've been saying for a while that this deck is not nearly as unfair as it was with machine duplication.
So let's see. How do we want to do this exactly is the question. I have a couple of ways to handle some of this. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice my Witch of the Black Forest to run out a Nanashik.
That's fine.
Alright, which effect?
Sure.
I will add a copy of Queek to my hand.
Sure. Queek is fine.
Then I'm going to activate Karakuri Cash, targeting my Nanashik.
That's fine.
Alright, so I will add Nanishi to my hand.
Nanishi's fine.
Nanashik switches.
Trigger Anatomy Chain Link 1, Anatomy Chain Link 2.
And I will chain Karakuri Trick House.
Oh, okay.
Targeting... I'm going to target your Anatomy.
Sure. Chain results.
Okay.
That dealt with one of them.
And I am unfortunately unable to do anything else at the moment, so I will just go to end phase and pass.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I'm going to activate Anatomy.
Okay.
Draw a couple. 18, huh? That's irritating. What do you have set is the question. Let's go normal Nanishi.
Okay.
Additional normal summon, tribute Nanishi.
For Nanashik.
For Nanashik. Nanashik effect.
Effect is good.
I'll draw a card. Let's get the back row out of here.
I got punished for that one.
Were you trying to warning the? You were trying to warning the burrito, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, that.
I was like, I could take out the Nanashik, and then it just turns around and leaves you with the defender. But I thought I could clear out both monsters at once.
No, I think that was fine. I just happened to top deck MST off of Nanashik.
Oh, it was a top deck.
Yeah,
Damn.
I drew it. Synchro.
Oy vey. That sucks.
Make burrito effect. I'm gonna special the other Nanashik from deck.
Okay.
We're gonna go battle phase. I'm gonna clear out the Nanashik with my own.
All right.
And then 28 direct. Go.
All right. Draw. Standby. Main.
The deck plays so much differently, but I actually like how this plays more than it played with machine duplication. I think it's a lot more engaging.
My Nanashik switched to attack mode.
You are right, yeah, you are right.
So that's gone. I'm not used to that kind of detail. Most of them just have the effect of switching to defense when in attack mode, so
yeah, that is different.
It's always good to have friends on the sideline letting us know.
It is.
Okay, so now we have to figure out what the hell we're doing here.
I think that's still fine.
Okay, so what do I... Fortunately, I have an out. The problem is it leaves me in a bit of an interesting position. And by interesting, I mean horrifying. So what can I do here? Okay, I think I have one idea. I'm going to run out my copy of Nanishi.
Sure.
Second summon, bring out Queek.
On summon, I am going to compulse your Queek.
Oh. And that's the game, because I'm gonna be forced to crash.
Yup! Okay. Now how do I side for the mirror is the question. The Karakuri mirror is quite different without machine duplication. I think it really is. I think it tests a different set of skills than it did before machine duplication was banned.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the extra draw first turn.
Sensible.
Okay. draw, standby main. I think I'm going to set a card, set 2 cards, and pass.
Draw for turn. Standby main. This hand is not good. I'm going to set 2 and pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby main. Well, I guess that gives me one option. Well, I guess it's not as bad. Alright, I'm going to run out a copy of Nishipachi.
Nishipachi's fine.
Nishipachi's effect, I will put itself to defense.
That's fine.
And Trick House, we will target that card.
Chain Compulse, target your set monster.
Okay. So we'll put that back to hand. Son of a gun. Okay. I will pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Standby phase, main phase. Let's run out Nisamu.
Nisamu?
Let's...
Interesting.
Nisamu okay?
Nisamu's fine?
Battle phase?
What the hell are you planning?
Right.
Okay.
Right. We just had this discussion about Nanashik. Why are these all different?
I was gonna say, are you about to just... I was like, are you about to waste your freaking limiter removal for this?
No, I just completely forgot that all these are different. It's the whole, like, yeah, I guess I'm taking 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't really have a choice at the moment, so...
Just go. Why do these all have to be different?
Standby main. Ooh. Ooh, I actually like that. Okay, this is actually an interesting card. The question is, do I want to actually make... How do I make use of it? You know what? Fuck it. Let's have some fun. So I'm going to run out my Witch of the Black Forest.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay. I'm going to think these off for my beret.
Cannot make beret with Witch of the Black Forest.
Oh, right. Good point. Forgot it has to be machines.
That's why I let the witch happen. But yeah, you're gonna have to make something that's generic.
Why not? We have our dragon. We don't have to go boom, though.
So you're not activating the effect of Black Rose?
I am not activating her effect.
I'm just gonna Torrential then.
Rude. Okay. I think then I'm just going
You can still do your witch search.
Oh, right. I completely forgot about the witch.
Yeah, you need to do that.
I think I'm going to add my... This is actually a tough one. You know what? Why not? Let's give it a little insurance. I'm going to add my Max C.
Of course, because that's one of the reasons why Sandgen and Witch of the Black Forest had to get eroded, because you can search hand traps with them. Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. Let's go Inashichi.
Inashichi is good.
Inashichi effect.
Alright.
I'm going to grab myself a copy of Queek, I think? Yeah, let's get Queek. Battle.
Alright.
5.
5 it is.
Main 2, I'm going to set 1. Go ahead.
Alright. Draw. Ooh, that's not a bad one. Question is, how do I go? Actually, this is actually a pretty good way. Alright, so during draw phase, I'm just going to speed this through and MST the back row.
Sure, that's fine. That was a judgment.
Okay, glad I did that. So, first, I'm going to summon out a copy of Queek.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Now, you're going to actually see a fun little tech card I have.
Alright, let's see this.
I activate Machine Assembly Line.
Oh, that's neat. That's neat.
It is reciprocal, unfortunately. But when you're dealing with a monster, when it only gives attack, and you're dealing with a monster that switches to defense anyway, not really that big a deal now, is it?
That's actually really good in the mirror. That's really good tech for the mirror.
So that's going to take it out. Queek's effect gets to come in, which means that I can bring in Nishipachi.
Yep.
We also get 2 counters here.
Yeah, that does. That's really good.
Nishipachi could go into attack mode through its own effect.
Yep, and then I'm just going to take 5 from it. Yep. That's really...
7.
That's sick.
700, actually.
Oh, it is 7. You're right.
And then main 2, might as well get the big guys, and might as well get one of the big guys going. So we'll bring up Beret.
Yeah, Beret's fine.
And this time it's legal.
Yup.
And we can bring out any Karakuri.
Yep.
So Let's see. I'm honestly kind of tempted to bring out, you know what? Why not? We're going to bring out a copy of Queek.
Kuik is fine.
And then how much do I want to insure things? I think we're good. I'm going to pass.
Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. Let's go normal Ninishi effect.
Okay.
Additional normal summon will be Kuik.
Okay.
That's good.
That's good.
Synchro.
Okay.
Man, I'd really like to go into Beret right now, but I think this is just too good. Black Rose Dragon, you got a warning?
I don't have a warning, but since we're losing it anyway, I'm going to Deep Dark Trap Hole and banish her.
Yeah. If the summon's good, obviously effective Black Rose. So Black Rose will get banished, and then everything else will go away.
Yep, and unfortunately, I don't have any extra effect going in with the with machine assembly line because you have to actively send it to the graveyard.
Yep. Indeed. Then I'm just gonna pass the turn.
All right. Admittedly, I could have max seed right there, but honestly, the one card wasn't probably going to make much of a difference.
Yeah, that's what's actually complicating things is you have Maxi. So I have to kind of be a little bit careful with how gung-ho I go on any given turn, because
True.
It's almost worse knowing that Maxi is there.
Let's start things off with System Down.
Interesting. I know why you're doing this, but it's interesting that you would use System Down on an empty board.
And then I'm going to set a monster and pass the turn.
Card for turn, standby main.
Okay.
I'll run out Psychic Commander.
Psychic Commander, okay.
Go to battle.
Alright.
Hit.
You have hit my Nishipachi.
Damage step, I'm gonna pay 3.
Alright.
Go.
Draw, standby main. That is probably the best thing I could have drawn.
I mean, Pot of Greed is generally one of the best cards in the game.
Fortunately, that doesn't actually do anything to necessarily help me. At least not that I'm aware of. I think I'm just going to pass.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Normal Nishipachi, or normal Ina Shichi effect.
Okay.
Let's get Kuik to hand. The endless conga line of dudes.
Yep.
Okay.
Before
Oh, are you gonna
anything,
Maxi now?
Well, I'm thinking about it because I'm sitting here like, okay, you have a 5 on board. The question is, what 5s do you even have?
Well, there's one I have.
True, you have Android.
Is that worth the Maxi?
Exactly, that's the other issue. I think that's going to be good. I think I'm not going to Maxi.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'm just gonna come in for 19.
Okay.
Then main phase 2. I'm just gonna pass.
Interesting that you were poking around in my graveyard. Standby main. That does not really do what I want it to do, but I think I'm going to set a couple of cards, and then I'm going to pass.
Card for turn, standby phase, main phase. What are your back row is the question. I'm going to try to force something out here. Let me just take a peek again. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to force something out. I'm going to prohibit Ring of Destruction.
Oh, prohibit Ring of Destruction. Okay.
Does that resolve?
That's good.
Normal Kuik.
Okay. Thinking.
Because not gonna lie, I was thinking about prohibiting Maxi.
I'm gonna go ahead and pitch Maxi.
Are you gonna Maxi now? That's fine. Let's go to the battle phase then.
Okay.
5.
So that's 5.
14.
14.
17.
And 17. Do you have the limiter removal?
Damage step? I do have it.
Yep, there's nothing I could do about that.
I was also thinking about prohibiting Oh god, I was about to prohibit System Down too.
I would have MST'd immediately if you did, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah, just...
That wouldn't have helped. My problem basically just boiled down to I didn't draw another monster. I had Nanichi in hand for a couple turns. The problem was I just couldn't do anything to work with it. I don't have a level 5 to really help out here. So
that System Down, that first System Down was so good because I had Overload from the beginning of the game. I was just waiting for Cyber Dragon.
I had a feeling that Overload was going to be a problem potentially. So yeah, I wasn't gonna let that happen.
But I like the dynamic of the Karakuri mirror a lot better without machine duplication, just because the deck feels a lot more fair. I think
it feels a lot less stacky, basically.
I think what the Karakuri deck does post machine duplication is it feels like it's a mid-range or control mirror, where both sides are trying to eke out as much advantage as possible. And I actually had a really cool side deck plan for more like explosive decks when I was on the play. You're gonna find this really interesting. I had 11 trap cards and Temple of the Kings in my side deck.
Ooh,
because
that's actually interesting.
Because I have a bunch of proactive trap cards in this deck, especially in the side, that could wind up being very good against certain matchups. But I obviously did not board that in. When I saw that we were on the mirror match, I actually boarded out a lot of my recursion because I have 3 copies of Call of the Haunted between main and side now because Call of the Haunted is at 3.
Right.
And that was
the only reason I don't have Call of the Haunted in this deck specifically is just because of the fact that basically I'm not really I don't really feel like it's gonna be enough to bring. Basically, I look at it like, if the deck goes as planned, I'm going to be getting out Beret or Burrito on the field anyway. And if I don't have that in plan and I end up like in this kind of position, okay, Black Rose is one thing because that was mostly just to get a beater on the field and because I screwed up with the Witch. But at the same time, like here, I'd be able to get like Nishipachi or something, but that'd be about it. Like it wouldn't really do anything to help me too much.
The Torrential on Black Rose Dragon was just devastating.
Yeah, the Torrential definitely was a problem. So, honestly, I had a feeling that you might be running Karakuri again. So, fun fact, the System Downs, they were actually main deck.
Whoa! Whoa! I was this close to playing Blackwing because I thought you might main deck System Down. I almost pivoted to Blackwing.
My reasoning was basically it's a flip of what usually happens. If I run System Down in the side deck and then you're running Karakuri, okay, game 1 happens, whatever result, I end up siding in, game 2, there we go. In reverse, if you're running Karakuri like I was expecting, then that gives me a bit of an edge from the start. And then if you're not running it, okay, then it's just a reverse situation where I just side them out game 2 and go with something else. Oh, you got a Pappy.
That was the best card I got out of Galactic Overlord.
That's actually a little sad, honestly. I didn't really get anything too spectacular in terms of hollows.
I got one thing above a super rare, and that was the cover card. And the cover card it wins the game on the spot if you can make it, but it's ridiculously hard to make.
What is that one?
Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. It requires 3 level 8s to make.
See, I pulled one of them too, but yeah, I just don't feel like I'd have a way to use it. Like, especially because like I have Galaxy Eyes. Like I have Galaxy Eyes too. It's just getting the other 2 level 8s on the field is the problem.
It's so hard to make. To make that, you basically have to have like a hieratic core. And I think there are too many cards at rare specifically that require that you have to play hieratic because Convocation is rare, and you have to get an Xyz monster. Like hieratic is very much a deck that is accessible to us. You just have to get an Xyz monster.
Right.
And
which they don't have a whole lot that really comes in handy. Like specifically, a lot of the big ones to help out with that are
yeah, they're really high rarity.
Yeah, they're like super rare, and a couple of them, like one is super rare, one's ultra rare, and then like one of them is secret
Heliopolis. Rare. Heliopolis is secret rare. I mean, if you get that out, it just wins the game. And I
Pretty
would rather
much.
have Photon Strike Bouncer than Heliopolis, because Photon Strike Bouncer, I think, is still the biggest rank 6 in the game. Like, the biggest generic rank 6.
Right.
And just Photon Strike Bouncer is really good.
Well, that didn't go as expected, but oh well. Time to go into the prizing.
It is. So as it turns out, Karakuri is still good enough, even without machine duplication, to take games. I think the deck is a lot more fair, and the matches are a lot more skill-intensive, rather than it just being, oh, who can OTK the other first, and it just gets to be really sacky. But I have decided that I'm going to go after the Raw Yellow Mega Pack specifically, because there are a lot of common cards that I am after, and a lot of the cards that I need to play 6 Samurai are actually in here. The only one that I'm missing that's just super good is Legendary 6 Samurai Shien, but 6 Samurai is very playable without their boss synchro, just because of how much swarming capability it has. So I'm actually going to go after this pack and try to get some of the 6 Sam stuff and some of the other cards out of the Raw Yellow Mega Pack as well. Because we were the winner of this duel, we actually get to crack 10 packs, since it's 5 packs per helping, since that's how many packs you got in the collection itself. So that's what I'm going to go for, is 10 packs of the Raw Yellow Mega Pack starting now. And we got a Stratos, we got a Card Trooper, but we did get another Great Shogun Shien. That's a pretty good first pack. Then moving on to our second pack. That first pack was a good start. We got another Cyber Dragon. There's a Sapphire Pegasus, a Rainbow Dark Dragon. Sapphire Pegasus, we could actually bring Crystal Beast back. That's a deck that I think would be a surprise more than anything. We did hit a Jane. How many Jane did we have? Jane we had 2, so that gives us our third. The Cyber Dragon, unfortunately, we will not get to use because we already have a playset. Rainbow Dark Dragon's kind of neat, because Demon has popped that on us before. So now we'll have that available, and that could very well be a card that we play as a one-of. I still think Dark Arm Dragon is better, but it's neat to have. I think this is our first copy of Electrum, which I don't think we're ever going to make that. It's still a good future fusion target, but that's about it. So let's move on to our third pack. We've gotten a couple good cards, but nothing... Oh, that's a Malicious. Malicious is pretty sick. And a Ryo. And Gateway! Gateway is one of the big cards that I was looking for. So we have our 1 copy of Gateway. Now 6 Samurai we can actually do things with. We got another Card Trooper as well. Unfortunately, we don't have machine duplication anymore, but Card Trooper is still fine. And the Ryo is big. Ryo is honestly one of the big reasons why I decided to go after this pack. So that's kind of neat. So let's go on to our 4th pack of Raw Yellow, see what we wind up with. Instant Fusion, Grand Mole, Card Trooper, another Shogun Shien, that makes our 3rd, and another Magical Mallet. So overall, I'm pretty happy with these packs so far, and we've still got quite a few to go. We're getting most of the cards that I've been after, because playset of Card Trooper is really good. I think that gives us 3 Shien. Yes, that does give us 3 Shien. So we are full up on those. So let's move on to our 5th pack. Necrogarden is pretty sweet. Necrogarden is sweet. Grandmaster of the 6 Sam, that's pretty big. That's one of the cards that I was missing to play that deck. So very, very happy with Grandmaster. So then second half of the pack, see what we wind up with out of pack number 6. Neos Alias, Judgment Dragon, 2nd Grandmaster. I am very happy with this. Unfortunately, we don't have things like Wolf to be able to play Lightsworn with. I would love to be able to play Lightsworn, but we just completely missed that core out of Light of Destruction. Then pack number 7, still a couple things I would like to find. Another Super Poly is kind of neat. That's our 3rd Topaz Tiger. That's a rare value. This rare value is obviously a Crystal Beast card, and this is the first accessible reprint that we've had of it. I think Crystal Beast is a little bit dated, but it could be a surprise that we can spring on a demon, and Mizuki's pretty solid too. All right, so 3 packs to go. Halfway through our 2nd set, another Necrogarden. Inishi is good. To find Neos. Not like we are ever making that, but 2nd Necrogarden is pretty sweet. All right, 2nd to last pack out of our Raw Yellow Mega Packs. And we got another Ryo, another System Down. Did we have a playset of System Down before? We did not, so that makes our 3rd. We may actually have to start siding System Down as well. We already have a playset of Card Trooper. We got another Thunder King Ryo, which is really big. Thunder King Ryo, I think, is going to play a very favorable role in the next list that I build. And then let's see what we can get out of our very last pack. I'm very happy with the cards that I wound up getting out of here. Another Judgment Dragon. I think that's our first Diamond Dude. Oh, a Wolf. We got a Wolf. But I don't think a single Wolf is enough to be able to bring that core together. Really needed to see a Lumina or two. But I don't think we're going to be going back to this pack. I think we got everything that I wanted out of it. Power Bond I actually just missed too. So if we play some other kind of a machine fusion-based deck, that could wind up coming into play as well. But that'll wrap it up for today's episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Join us next time when we take a break from our collections to do our first of 4 Battle Pack episodes. Until then, see you around.